We'll get started. I'll kick this off just briefly. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brett Kaler, the Executive Director of the Wyoming Economic Development Association, and really appreciate you all joining our prosperity call this month. I think we have a pretty interesting presentation for you all. Michael Howe is with the Enbridge Corporation and has joined us. Enbridge is a sponsor of WIDA's, and he's going to talk a little bit about kind of some of the work that Enbridge is doing and the partners that they're doing it with. So with that, I will say I'll kick it over to Michael, but if anyone has questions along the way, feel free to put them in the chat, and I'll make sure that they get addressed towards the end. But Michael, thanks for presenting to us this month.
Gotta get off mute. Yeah, Brett, thanks, and appreciate the opportunity. And yeah, just we're going to talk a little bit about Enbridge and its expanding footprint in Wyoming. I'll give you a broad overview of who Enbridge it is, what we do, and all that kind of thing. So we will go from there. You gave me the ability to share my screen, right?
You should have the ability. Let me know if it's not working.
Well, you let me know if it's not working. You should have it now.
Yep, it's showing.
All right. So, yeah, like I told Brett, this is about a 25-minute presentation maybe, and just a brief overview. Happy to answer any questions. And any questions I don't have, my boss is on the line as well, so I would just defer to her. So, so yeah, a little bit about Enbridge in Wyoming and the expanding footprint here. First of all, Enbridge. So Enbridge, this is our footprint, if you will. So on this map, you'll see the liquid pipeline system, a number of renewable energy systems, the gas transportation system, which I'll tell you all about. And then you see a little map of Europe over there on the right-hand side, and we have some large renewable energy installations in Europe as well, including some impressive offshore wind farms. But we've been delivering energy since about 1949, and in some of our subsidiaries, it can date back further. Just to give you an idea of the scale of this, we have over 71,000 miles of natural gas pipelines, 17,000 plus miles of liquid pipelines. In the U.S. alone, we account for about 40% of the daily U.S. crude oil imports. So, I mean, really, we are North America's leading energy infrastructure company. We built our name by safely delivering energy to consumers and markets across North America through our vast network of natural gas, oil transmission pipelines, natural gas utilities, renewable energy generation, all that kind of thing. So it's a pretty large company. It's a great company to work for, to be a part of, and I'm excited about what we're doing in Wyoming, which I will, of course, get to here in a moment. Just a little bit more. This map just shows a little bit different view of the breadth and the reach of Enbridge's infrastructure in North America. We transport 67% of Canadian crude exports. We have access to more than 75% of North America's refining capacity, so the oil we ship all around, and about 25% or more of U.S. Gulf Coast crude exports flow through the Enbridge terminals. So it's a pretty vast company, I mean, pretty broad reach, like I said. So a little bit more about Enbridge and the reach. We transport about 30% of the crude oil produced in North America, about 20% of the natural gas consumed in the United States. Our renewable energy facilities, we can power just under 1 million homes. Our liquid pipelines, which is what we started with in Wyoming, and I'll show you that in a moment, but Enbridge operates the world's longest and most complex crude oil and liquids transportation system. We have just under 18,000 miles of active crude pipelines across North America. Again, we move about 30% of the crude produced across North America and deliver over 3 million barrels of crude oil and liquids every single day through our system. Our natural gas transmission and midstream, we move about 20% of all natural gas consumed in the U.S., have just under 80,000 miles of transmission and midstream pipelines, transport about 21 billion cubic feet of natural gas a day. And these are based on 2021 figures. And we have about 26 billion cubic feet of network gas storage throughout the U.S. transmission operations. Our natural gas utilities, this is an exciting part of what's happened in Wyoming recently, and I'll get more into it, but we recently acquired Questar Natural Gas from Dominion Energy in southwest Wyoming. So with our Dominion Energy acquisitions, as well as what we had before, we're North America's largest natural gas utility by volume and the third largest by customer count, with about 3.9 million residential commercial, institutional, and industrial customers. So we're well into the natural gas business now. And then renewable energy, started that in about 2002. We have renewable energy facilities in North America and Europe. We have 23 wind farms, 17 solar energy operations, 5 waste heat recovery facilities, a geothermal project, a power transmission project, 1 hydroelectric facility. So right now we could do about 2,400 megawatts of zero emission energy. So just over 1 million homes based on net generation figures. So we're quickly expanding into renewable energy as well. So what's cool about that is it kind of matches what Wyoming is, and that's an all of the above energy state. We're an all of the above energy company. So it's a good fit for Wyoming, at least I think so. Safety, of course, top priority. We take that very seriously. Every day it's top of mind for every single one of our employees, whether in the field or whether it's me sitting at this desk giving a presentation. It is by far the top priority. For example, from 2012 to 2022, we've invested more than $11.7 billion in programs that help maintain the fitness of our system. And we continue to invest in that. We monitor things 24/7, and we pay close attention. It's nonstop training for employees. It's nonstop attention on safety because it's just so important. A lot of respect for environment and people. We're continually innovating to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in every step of our energy transportation network. We're in the liquid petroleum business, right? We're in natural gas business, but we're still trying to reduce our greenhouse gases. We're committed to supporting North America's energy transformation by modernizing infrastructure, investing innovation, cleaner energy solutions, and I think we're actually doing that fairly well. So that's kind of my broad overview of who Enbridge is. Now I'm going to get into some Wyoming specifics. So Wyoming, we do have an expanding footprint here. We have our Express Platte pipeline, which I'll give you some more details about, but that basically runs down the middle of the state from Montana. It goes down to Casper and then out of the state into Nebraska around Torrington. We have Enbridge Gas Wyoming. That used to be Questar in southwest Wyoming. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And then we have some renewable energy developments that some of you may have read about. If not, I'll tell you a little bit about those here in just the coming slides. First, though, the bread and butter is our pipeline business. So we have the Express Pipeline, and that delivers oil from Hardisty, Alberta, up in Canada, to Casper. So it's a 785 mile long pipeline, averages about 310,000 barrels per day that flows through that pipeline and gets down to Casper. Then in Casper, we have 12 tanks. And if you're familiar with Casper, there's the 12 tanks out towards the airport, nearest the airport. And they have a shell capacity of 1.4 million barrels. So that's the Express Pipeline, again, from Hardisty, Alberta to Casper, Wyoming, 310,000 barrels per day. And then we have the Platte Pipeline, which delivers oil from Casper to Wood River, Illinois. Just under 1,000-mile long pipeline, averages 164,000 barrels per day. We have 5 tanks in Guernsey that are part of that, with a shell capacity of 405,000 barrels. Once that oil gets to Wood River, it's then distributed to primarily the Gulf Coast, but elsewhere for refining, exports, that kind of thing. So that's our Express Platte pipeline, which is a significant part of the operations here in Wyoming. Then, like I said, we just recently acquired from Old Dominion Energy their natural gas utilities, which includes Questar. Questar is primarily in Utah. It's got one little county in Idaho. And then on this map, this is from the Public Service Commission. The green area is where Questar, or now Enbridge Gas of Wyoming, serves as a natural gas utility. And again, that acquisition, I mean, it was finalized about a month ago. There's 12 communities, key communities, Rock Springs, Evanston, Green River, all those. So there's 12 communities, but there's about 28,000, a little more than 28,000 Wyoming customers. And we're going to continue the customers, the communities there, they'll continue to see the same level of quality service that they've come to expect from Questar. They're going to see employees engaged in the communities, supporting important, economic development activities. Obviously, utilities are key to economic development in the communities. And Enbridge is going to be continuing to participate and be active and helpful in those areas. So that is the newest part of Enbridge in Wyoming, is our natural gas utilities there in the Southwest. Then we also have renewable energy project. It's been in the news here and there, but it's Cowboy Solar. It's in Cheyenne. It's just south of Cheyenne. If you're familiar with Cheyenne, it's off of Highway 85 going towards Greeley, just south of Cheyenne, out by some data centers. It's actually linked. I mean, we're not operated by these or anything, but it's linked to significant economic development there. You may have heard that Meta's coming with their data center, Microsoft is there, and this facility is designed to help meet their needs there. So we have Cowboy Solar. Phase 1 is a 400 megawatt solar installation, hoping to begin construction next year about this time, June 2025. Things are progressing nicely. It looks like it's going to come to fruition, and we've got the permits and all that kind of thing. Cowboy Solar, phase 2, that's just the expansion of the project. We're going to add another 371 megawatts of solar, hopefully begin that 2026. Might be a bit aggressive, but 2027. So around that time frame, we'll start constructing that. Both of these phases include battery storage. And again, it's tied to some significant economic development in Laramie County. So it's a pretty important project. A lot of folks at data centers, that kind of thing, that want to come in, they want renewable energy. So here we are. So that kind of nice overview of Enbridge's expanding footprint in Wyoming. So just a little bit more of Enbridge in Wyoming. 2023, we paid $2.4 million in property taxes for pipelines and other facilities. We had $3.4 million in total wages. So it's given back. We have 35 Wyoming-based permanent and temporary employees and contractors that work in Wyoming. We actually have an office in Casper. We have an office in Powell. We have some employees in the Worland area. And then, of course, working up and down the pipeline to help maintain that and some of our other facilities. And we do give back, and we do support our communities, which I'll tell you a little bit about here in a sec, or now. We have multiple ways that we focus and support communities through our corporate citizenship program. And our regional investments, they align with these 3 focus areas, one of which is safe communities, help safety initiatives, safe planning, education, humanitarian aid. We have what's called vibrant communities, where we empower individuals to achieve their potential, build potential in youth, honoring Indigenous people and culture, celebrating culture and community, and then our sustainable communities, environmental education and stewardship, habitat remediation, conservation, energy transition. So in Wyoming, you'll see us supporting groups like the Platte River Trail Trust in Casper. You'll see us supporting Future Farmers of America, the School of Energy Resources at the University of Wyoming, just a broad array of different organizations across the state, primarily along our pipeline facilities, including supporting the tribes on the Wind River Reservation, both the Northern Arapaho and the Eastern Shoshone. In 2023, we invested $115,000 in Wyoming, helping with the safe communities, vibrant, sustainable communities. So we get out there, we support local organizations. The Science Zone in Casper is another one. We just did a Make-A-Wish in Cheyenne through our renewable energy project. So just a variety of ways and that we get out and we support the communities and try to be good neighbors, be good friends, and do good work. I mean, our employees live in these communities. It's important to the company, it's important to the employees that we are engaged in our communities. And I think we're doing a fairly decent job of doing that. We're members of most of the chambers along the pipeline, or where we have significant assets, economic development organizations. We're engaged in a variety of other ways as well through volunteerism and miscellaneous other activities. So that is kind of my broad overview of who Enbridge is, my high level overview, who Enbridge is, our expanding footprint in Wyoming, what we do in Wyoming. And I think what you'll find is Enbridge will continue to be committed to Wyoming. I mean, the all of the above energy approach works well for Enbridge, it works well for the state. And I think you'll see us continue to be involved and potentially have other opportunities down the road as well. The other cool thing that I wanted to share and talk a little bit about is our work with the indigenous communities, the tribal communities, and how we work with them, not just in Wyoming, but across the US, because it's important. I've only found one other company, there's probably more that have something similar to this. It's what we call our IRAP, our Indigenous Reconciliation Action Plan. And this is, and again, we don't have any operations on the Wind River Reservation, but it's very important to us, and Enbridge is incredibly committed in a very cool way to being good neighbors with the tribes, working with the tribes. So we have a long-held commitment to advancing reconciliation with the indigenous peoples, and we do that through a number of ways, and it's through our Indigenous Reconciliation Action Plan that we outlined this. So we've adopted a life cycle approach to guide engagement. We've increased total spending with Indigenous business to more than $1.5 billion across North America by the end of 2020. We've provided nearly $14 million in community investments since 2018. These are just tribal investments. Completed the largest Indigenous cultural resources survey in the U.S. We delivered Indigenous awareness training to roughly 5,500 employees, 50% of our permanent workforce. And we're simply committed to, again, working with the tribes. And we've got 6 pillars to this, and I'm just going to briefly tell you about each pillar. We have people, employment, education, so talent attracting and recruiting, talent, experience, and development, cultural support programs, learning and awareness. A couple examples of these is we support the Tribal Leadership Program for the Wind River Reservation through Central Wyoming College, as an example. We have community engagement relationships, where we develop formal mechanism for Indigenous groups to provide feedback, funding support of community capacity building and being over the next 5 years. Example of that, economic development specific related, is we support the Wind River Development Fund with some sponsorship and support there. So working closely with them. Economic inclusion and partnerships. Really, this is an avenue where if you have where we strive to create, engage in, and stimulate positive and mutually beneficial financial impacts, opportunities, potential partnerships with indigenous groups and businesses. I mean, like right now on the Wind River Reservation, we're simply just talking, being good neighbors, being good partners, and but I mean, down the road, who knows what might happen. Environmental stewardship and safety. We recognize the strong indigenous connection to culture and the traditional importance of the land, air, animals, and water. So we're committed to environmental protection, collaborative stewardship, continued improvement of engagement on and inclusion of traditional and cultural knowledge in our plans, projects, and operations. Everything we do, every new project, we consider how it might impact an indigenous population, and we take measures to make sure that's all respected and the tribes are well informed, that kind of thing. Then we have sustainability reporting and the energy transition, committed to forming strategies and collaborative partnerships with indigenous groups focused on advancing the energy transition to a low carbon economy, and then reporting on that. We're very transparent about what we report on. So that would be pillar 5. Then pillar 6 is governance and leadership. Enbridge established an indigenous advisory group. So we're committed to the creation, support of governance and leadership structures that focus on embedding and promoting accountability for our engagement and inclusion in the organization. We really do try to lead by example and hold each other accountable for the commitments we make. And it's actually turned into one of the best parts of my job, honestly, is the work with the tribes. So again, that was Brett, I told you to be 20-ish minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. And that is my brief overview of Enbridge in Wyoming. So if there's questions, be happy to take it. We're a growing company, especially in Wyoming, but elsewhere, and happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Michael. Yep, it's spot on. Perfect timing. So really appreciate it. Are there any questions for Michael about Enbridge, the work they're doing, and so forth? You might have gotten off pretty easy, Michael. That's great.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Brett.
Yeah.
I will stop sharing now.
Great. Thank you very much. Once again, thanks. I have Michael's contact information as well. So if questions, I know, sometimes questions will crop up after a presentation like this. We'll also get the recording onto our YouTube page as well. So anyone, who wants to go back and rewatch it can. And with that, appreciate everybody joining our Prosperity Call this month, and hope you can join us next month for our Prosperity Call on August 8th. Hope you all have a great week, and we'll see you next month.